All right, it's the next video, and we're going to install inductors. So in the last video, we installed all of these capacitors, these blue and yellow things, and the trick there was to use a camera to see the blue one, the gray writing on the blue ones is just too small and too not enough contrast to see, for me at least. So with that entire process took 28 minutes, and then it took 7 minutes to get all these diodes in. And I'll bet you it's going to take even less to get all of these inductors in. So these inductors, they go to these two pads, these two pads, these two pads, and these two pads. And so we're just going to go ahead and dive right in on these. Now, going to just trim these, get these out. Okay. And I'm going to try to make them uniform. I'll put the silver band up on each one, and then install. These are L5, L5, L7, L7, L9, and L1. So this here is L5. There we go. Got that in. You want to make sure you don't use these two or these two, because those are for the toroidal inductors. So don't mess with those. Okay, display those out. Okay, and grab the silver side up, flip it over, and on to the next. This is where tweezers come in super handy. There we go. Oh, almost had me try a different pair that I have better control with. There we go. And flay these out a little bit. And that almost went flying. Try not to do that. Okay. And that one goes here. And last but not, flay this out like so. And last but not least, we have L1. Flip it over, or twist that over, or turn that over, and L1 goes right. There we go, right there. And we'll grab some solder. And when you warm up the board the first time, you're gonna need to let it warm a little bit extra, because you gotta get the heat into the board and into the part. So what I have is I've got my soldering iron actually against the board and the lead that I'm soldering. So they both get warmed up at the same time. And then I melt the solder into it, and when I can see the solder flow nicely, then I just add some more. And once you get an area of the board, like then these two leads, or one of these leads warmed up, the other one will be pretty warm already, so it'll take less time. So we'll do this one. Okay, and now this one. There we go. So inspect all the solders, and they all look good. Trim. Okay, and always inspect again after you trim, because then you can see even clearer. And these look pretty good. I don't really see any issues. So make sure I'm examining them all here, 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 and there. Yeah, they look good. So you'll notice there is a solder bridge between these two, and I do believe that those are physically connected on the board. So we can always look at the schematic, or at the screen print, which is on page 8 of the manual. So I'm gonna look on page 8 and make sure that those two are in fact supposed to be connected. So to do that, what I've got to do is line this up with the board, and then look at, because it's these two right here, and those are connected on the PCB. So you kind of have to think in multiple dimensions, but these here, basically this, what I'm doing is I'm following this trace from here through this all over to the output here. I believe that's the output, yeah. And then I'm flipping it over, and then because it's presented from the top view, and so following the blue traces, and the blue trace goes from here down to here to that looks like an SMD capacitor here, and then to these two, and these two are connected. So we're good. If you're not sure, no need to fret. Just watch the look at the screen print. So that's on page 8 of the manual. So we are now on page, let's see what this, we got the inductors installed. The next is the PA transistors. So we're at 7 minutes here. So I'm going to say this took 6 minutes to get the through-hole inductors installed. So the next part is the PA transistors. And the PA transistors are really, really, really pretty easy, I think. So those are the BS170's. And it's interesting. Sorry, I was distracted reading the directions, which is something you should do too. But it's interesting that it used to say to solder them in and then press them down, and now it doesn't say which order to do things in, because there is a nut and a bolt that I have misplaced. I feel like I've misplaced a bag here. Bear with me just a minute. I've got these inductors here. Yeah. I've got, this is empty. This. I'll bet it, they're in here. Oh yeah. All the hardware is in here, I'll bet. Or it's in this bag over here that I completely overlooked. Yep, that's where it is. All right, so I got my BS170's, and I need tweezers here. All this hardware is down at the bottom corner, of course. I could just dump out the whole bag, but I didn't really want to do that. So I'm using my tweezers to also dump out the whole bag. Go. All right. That's probably enough of views of my big fat hands for a while for all of you. I'm sorry about that. And a minute ago, I did have an LED in a bag. What did I do with that? I was going to put it with these. There it is. So, gonna get all these parts flying in formation again. So now I've got them all here. All right, so what we're gonna do is we need to install these BS170's like so. So there's 4 of them. Gotta face the flat part in so it can lay flat on the silver part of the board. So what that is this is what a PCB looks like when there's no solder mask. In fact, that's exactly what I've done here with the W7RLF board. Is the green parts are where there's solder mask, which is this green here, and the silver parts are the actual tinned copper. And the nice thing about that tinned copper is it not only conducts electricity, it also conducts heat. So what this is a heat sink. It's actually dissipating heat to the entire board. Yes, do they get warm? Yep, they do. Is that itself a cause for concern or a point of failure? No, it's not. I suppose if you're doing whisper it, for those 10-minute whispers or something like that, then maybe. But all right, so what we're gonna do is, here's how I go about this. It shows that you've got the bolt going up from the bottom, and then the washer, and then the nut. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to push these over now. And I'm going to push the bolt from the bottom. And the nut, or the washer rather, and then the nut. And I don't know if I even have a screwdriver in here. I hope I do. Yeah, I've got something. Yeah, I've got a screwdriver. All right, so let me grab this screwdriver. I'm not gonna try to get this super tight just yet because I want these to be pretty uniform. Okay. And that's about as good as that gets, I think. So we'll go ahead and tighten her down. Okay. Only thing I'm going to do is probably press this one in just a little bit. And then continue to tighten. Don't need to get it. You can just use your finger to hold that nut. You don't have to use a wrench or anything. And now all we've got to do is try to untangle these so I don't accidentally get solder bridges. Okay. And solder these up. So this is about another 8 minutes or so. Let's take a look here. All right, so these are going to take a little bit longer because you're dissipating a lot of heat. So gonna wait. Solder's not sticking there. There we go. See, as the board gets warm, they get easier. Grab some more solder. You might notice that I do put a little bit of solder on the actual soldering iron tip. And the reason I do that is to melt some solder onto the parts. And that helps the heat get into the parts faster. Because all of a sudden it's like having a liquid soldering tip. And so you have a bigger surface area. So it gets into the parts faster. You'll notice I'm also staying in it so that I don't have any cold solders. Cold solder is what you get when you don't have enough heat you have all your heat into the leads and no heat into the board, or all the heat into the solder and no heat into the leads, or something like that. Clean that up in a minute. All right, let's go ahead and chop these. Okay, so how are we doing here? These look pretty good. I have a little bit of stray solder right there. I could probably just, yep, took that off there. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to examine the board from this direction and make sure I don't have any solder bridges or anything like that. And really, this looks pretty good. I did notice that one of my capacitors, I think, one of the diodes, is a bit long there, so I'm going to trim that. Don't be afraid to just examine your entire board every now and then, guys, because you might spot things that you just didn't spot before. I'm always doing that. Now, my builds don't always just work first power up, but a lot of times they do, and I think that's because I'm just go over them again and again and again. Like, I just noticed I don't like this solder right here. It's for... Maybe I do. Maybe I don't mind it, because now I can't find it. Yeah, I guess it's all right. I can't find it again. But don't go around second guessing yourself constantly, but inspections at every step of the way are going to help. So we got the BS170's, and I think we were at 7 minutes, so we'll say 10 minutes. So what's the next step? Well, the next step is a transformer T1. And I'm going to do that in a separate video because this video is already almost 20 minutes long. So after that, let's see, let's just review real quick. That's going to be the transformer that goes here, T1. And that's going to be a video that will probably be long. And then after that is L12, which is not that hard, actually. It is tedious. And then we have, was that L4? L14, which is this inductor here. Yeah, the rest of them are just all the inductors, and then all these 6 toroids. And after that, oh yeah, then we have the trifilar toroid. Those are always fun. I actually really do enjoy those. I'm not being sarcastic. That's this guy here. I enjoy those. Those are fun. And then the LED, and then all the edge connectors, and then a piece of tape. Oh, that's new. Okay, a piece of tape, and then installing it in the enclosure. I mean, some of the fiddliest solder we just got done in two videos. We're done with some of the fiddliest soldering there is for this. So this is just flying together, guys. By the way, I say guys, and there may be a person who is not does not identify as male now and then, and I'm including you as well. I'm including every gender. However, YouTube says that 100% of my viewers on the binary scale of male and female are male. So Thanks for watching, guys. I really do appreciate it. And if you're not a guy, I know there's some gals that watch too. Of course, I am including you. We are using the term guy colloquially. So it's kind of like dude. I say dude to ladies too. Anyway, or if you watch Vice Grip Garage, you got fellers and fellettes. I don't care who you are. Thanks for watching. I do appreciate it. And with that, this video is over. Next one will be installing toroids. See you then.